Yeah, I used to write cool poems in the seventh grade. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm curious about what your creative blocks are and what creativity means to you. I didn't mean to interrupt your sidebar yet, but
That's just small town life for you. We got to catch up on the hot gals.
yeah.
No, but then, I was like thinking about that time, and also like, I was like really into art at the time, and I still am. Like, that's something that's always been a part of me, but it's like I only applied to art schools except for UNT, which is ultimately where I ended up going, um, the first school. And, I've done stand up, and then I'm kind of doing what I'm doing now with live music. And it was just kind of one of those, what is my thing? Like, I felt like I had to have a thing.
Mm,
And it's like, but all the same time of having all of these thoughts, it's like there's just always that kind of creativity like simmering, with like nowhere to go. And it's just eventually going to like burn you from the inside, And I
mm-hmm.
think for me, like, I was also thinking about, because I just got into the live music thing this last year. And before that, I was just like working in restaurants, which at the time I didn't think was very creative. But since I've kind of redefined things, I feel like it is very creative. And so I guess I was thinking about, I have some, let me consult my notes real quick.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
good. No,
yeah.
I can
Okay.
see it as waiting tables as being like a wellspring of like inspiration and characters that you have to interact with and like,
Yeah,
by
it really
choice
teaches
or
you
fate.
like so many
Yeah.
valuable skills. But I was thinking about like, okay, like even if I don't like even if I remove the burden of like picking a thing, I was like, you think about all of these different roles that we have to facilitate in our everyday lives of like we have to be like a daughter or a sister or an
Mm-hmm.
employee or a coworker or all of these things. It's like we always have to kind of fill in the gaps and ultimately definitely contribute and give an output, but also like there is an undeniable element of like suppression of who you are,
Mm.
because that's just kind of the give and take when it's not just who you are. And so I think for me, that's why creativity has been very challenging. And also thinking of like the restaurant circumstance where you're constantly meant to kind of deny um, your needs in the moment for the sake of serving someone else and
Mm-hmm.
giving an experience. And so it's really hard to not only click out of like a very carved neural pathway of serving other people and suppression
Mm.
to expression and like vulnerability.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure. Because you might want to say something like that would, to someone, but you have to bite your fucking tongue because you
yeah,
want to keep the job.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's how I
or
got into stand up.
yeah,
Some
yeah. No, and I
trauma,
can
that'll do it.
see. Yeah, well, labels and the hats that we wear, the identity or the boxes that we fit in, or that we choose to align with, or that we have to play a role or a certain part because this is our present moment or truth and that sort of thing. But it doesn't define the who we are in totality, and that's how at least I feel. It's like, and I'm always just like changing hats. I'm like, what am I calling myself today? Like,
Yeah.
how
And
do
it's
I
just like giving
encapsulate
yourself
who I
permission.
am? Yeah, how do
Yeah.
I accept who I am and what I want to express and be in the world, but like one label or thing.
Yeah. And I feel like for me too, it's like, okay, once you can kind of like wrap your head around the idea and embrace it of like, yes, I'm going to express myself. Yes, I'm going to be vulnerable. Yes, I want to connect. There's also this idea of like valuing creativity in the sense of like what you're inputting in your life and not just what you're exporting from it.
Mm,
Because I think it was
mm,
you that sent me something recently,
mm.
and I feel like everybody reposts these things all the time. And I'm not knocking them, I think they're true, but it's like we don't really value them as much. It was something to the effect of, like, your life is art, the way you smile, the way you order your coffee,
Mm.
all of these things. And everybody loves that sentiment, but I don't think we really like appropriately value
Yeah,
that.
or approach it every day in that manner. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would say that one of my blocks to it is something, yeah, that the pressure of exporting, or because now there's like also like somewhat obligations or people are paying me to produce certain things, which is cool. I'm getting paid for writing.
Yeah.
um, but it is also, or like or defining or assigning a goal or a certain attachment or expectation to like what I'm creating versus just allowing myself to create.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I've kind of tried to remove, well, I had, or like I signed up for like this songwriting thing, like just to play also, like
Yeah.
play with it, like just play and create without like that end goal in mind or some kind of fixed ideal, and like can nourish my creativity. Yeah, I think like the day to day life too is so like a well, like the inspiration, like making my coffee and how good it tastes. I can have a amazing coffee at 5:30. Don't judge.
I just had a Red Bull. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's one thing I was doing too last night. It's like so so much of like I think what would help me is like doing things just because I enjoy them. Like I was like I want to like get back on my Duolingo streak. I want to like take like a
Mm.
salsa class, which is sounds so
Yeah.
cheesy, but it's just like
I don't think
movement
it's cheesy.
and living, you know?
I went to a pussy energy class the other day. It's called Big Pussy Energy, and it's like a sensual dance thing, and she's like, record yourself so you can see your progress. And it was great because well, at first I was like, okay, I want to get the routine, the dance moves, quote unquote, right. And then so I noticed a big shift. I was like, no, just have fucking fun. Like
Yeah.
dance, move your body, get out of like the judgment or the judger of, because you're being witnessed by other women in the room too. And so it's like one group goes, one group witnesses, one group goes, one group witnesses. And so, but once I finally was able to like drop that sense of like, or the pressure that I was putting on myself,
Yeah.
that I like was like able to have fun with it and like tap into it or just have more fun and enjoy the dance class. So I don't think the dance class is silly at all. And I say like, do it.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
But but that's the thing too. It's like it's about recalibrating kind of like your value in terms of like results versus like experience.
Mm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
like being creative in that way. And so, oh man, it's super hard. But it's like I have to follow as someone like being a man agent. It's like I have to follow where my interests are, and it's okay to be like have more than one lane. And I think part of the reason I was thinking about this too, like part of the reason different things appeal to me is not just because I enjoy those mediums, but I think for me a huge part of it is back to not just like connection from what you create, but also collaboration.
Mm.
Like I've like helped my friends write some songs. I've like given my friends advice on like that's like a fashion designer, and it's just like I love that kind of creative play process. That's almost like it's just so valuable to me, you know,
I
because
want
it's
to do
just
something.
connection at the end of the day. You say what?
I said, I want to do something with you. I've wanted to do something with you for years.
I know.
Like whether it's a script or a song or, I mean, this, we're doing this.
I know. We did it,
Fine.
Joe.
We're here. Yeah. I'm like,
There's
and
something
who
else.
knows where we'll go. Um, yeah, no, just because I value like your insight and your creative genius
Oh my
so much.
gosh,
And
stop
like,
it.
I mean, take it, sister, like for real. I mean, I just think that you're so talented.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
yeah. No, so what would you say is like the biggest one calling to you right now besides this lovely podcast? I don't
Oh, I
know.
mean, gosh. I would say it's so hard. It's so hard to pick, but it's like it's almost like I think I this is like going to be the first year where I really let multiple projects kind of pull me as they
Mm,
inspire me because I think you know in the same way like when you think about like working out, right? It's like you can't always do it when you have the motivation. You just have to show up and keep doing it. But it's like ultimately there's always going to be one of those like projects that I'm working on that's going to pull me. And if it's like, if I just need to stay in this one for a little bit, and then once I'm kind of like, okay, it's not feeling as in flow, then I can kind of jump over
mhm.
to the next one. And like the three things that I'm working on right now, I would say would be um, definitely trying to like do stand up again. I've been feeling
Mm.
the pull. I've kind of reconnected with a couple of my comic buddies lately, and they're like, why aren't you doing it? Like you've always been so funny. And I just one of the things I think I I'm drawn to that the most is because it doesn't really require as much polish, you know, like it's just a little bit like, especially when you think about the world that we live in, you know, like Instagram and TikTok and all of these.
Hallelujah, TikTok though.
Oh my gosh, we'll see. We'll see, sister. But it's like there's so much kind of like fabrication, for lack of a better
Mm,
word, like, you know, which is great. I mean, that's part of building something, whatever you want to do. But there's just, to me, I always say like my favorite drug in the world is just like uncontrollable laughter. Like there's nothing like it.
mm,
And it's just like I've always felt like you can get to know somebody by making them laugh really hard with a joke versus like spending 30 minutes like, so where are you from? How many siblings do you have? Like what's your favorite color?
mm,
You know, and it's like
mhm,
because there's just something that you recognize and then it's it's the experience, the laughter, and then it's just that immediate kind of knowing like, oh, I know that person in a way because that's
mm.
like I relate to it, you know, and it's just a natural like human connection element. I like it because it's scary.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Um,
it's to me, it is the scariest form of art. Like to me, that's the one that takes the most balls, the biggest pussy. Because for me, when I think about doing stand up, I'm like, oh, that one feels vulnerable and raw.